Okay, 2-point perspective of the sky pressure from the top. And I am going to finish by doing the section cut in graphite. So we'll kind of get a little jump on the next assignment that way. That'll get us back on track. So I'm drawing that line down the center. It's at 8.5. As much as possible, I'm going to draw my lines with the blue lead as I start. Line down the middle, and do it down the middle the other way. And then I'm going to start to scale each of these to give myself a couple of rulers. And I'm going to do it at 3/8, which is what we determined worked out. So I'm just making these little tick marks at every 3/8 of an inch using the 3/8 scale. I'm going to come down this way too. Like that. And then I'll draw a baseline down here. I'm going to do it off of that second to last tick mark. And this baseline that I'll use for my horizontal dimensions, I'm going to run it off of the page. You're not going to see it because I'm going to have to do one measurement that's off the page to get the width of this building to work out. And then I'm going to do it at 1/2 inch. So this is my 1/2 inch. And I know that this is going to be 22 feet wide. So let's see, this is 20. And 22. So you can't see it, but I've kept going off the page this way to get to 22 feet, which might require you doing this, right? Just so you have enough on the ruler so that that's 22 way out there. So now what I want to do is draw a perfect square down here in space and draw out the plan in space. So I'm going to try to get these basic lines drawn in down here. So I'll start by, I'm assuming that my vanishing points are right at the edge of the page. And I'm going to start by going down from that bottom point. Like that. Now I need to go over to that 22 foot mark, which I can't quite reach with just one triangle. So I'm going to use both of the triangles like this. Line up that point, get myself all the way over to that 22 foot mark. That is off the page right now. Back up to that vanishing point. Takes a little bit of finesse. It's a long line. Let me go this way, see if I can get it a little longer on that side. Like that. Now, one of the things that we know when we draw in 2-point perspective and we're drawing a perfect square in space, and our middle line, our point here on the square, is equidistant between the vanishing points, that everything, these other points of the square are going to line up exactly horizontally, and these points will line up exactly vertically. So I don't really need to go way over across the page again. I can just go from here to this point. I'm just taking my time on these first few lines, because as you'll learn when you start to do these, if you get the first couple lines wrong, it sort of compounds the error. So here you can see what I mean. That's a perfect square in space. And these line up, or should, if I did this right, horizontally. Not absolutely perfect, but very close. So now the other thing that we've done when we've done this, we have drawn, essentially, we've drawn this perfect square in space with diagonals. They're straight when we're drawing them, but they're diagonals in space. They're the perfect diagonal of the square. So now these other lines that I want to bring in for the plan, I can measure them off here and pull them back and shoot them around this square because I have those diagonals. So if I start to measure some of these, based on how I've drawn them, this was drawn at 1/8 inch equals a foot. Just checking that. So it looks like the width of that wall is about 1 foot 6 inches. The light cove looks to be about 10 inches. The back of the bench is 2 foot 3. And that's 1 foot 6. So 1 6, 10 inches, 2 foot 3, 1 foot 6. So now I can come here and I've got this already charted out, right? And I can actually use my 1/2 inch scale to get that nice and accurate. So I can go 1 foot 6 for the outside wall. For some reason, why did I think that that was a foot before? It's definitely not. You can always double check that PDF to make sure that your plan is correct. 1 foot 6 is right there. 10 inches. 9, 10, right there. 2 foot 3. And 1 foot 6 again. Did I get that right? Where's my 2 foot 3? And I'm lost. 1 foot 6. 10 inches. 2 foot 3. 1 foot 6. And then I can pull each of these back to this vanishing point, except for I did it wrong, didn't I? Because this line is the inside wall line. So what I should have done is gone 1 foot 6 this way. So I'm going to keep that there, and then I'm going to remeasure and go out this way, 10 inches. And that's just because this line, this plane is the inside wall, right? It's the inside of that. $10, 2 foot 3. One foot 6. So this line at 1 foot 6 right there comes back. And I'm just going to go from I'm just only bringing this line back from the vertical to the horizontal. Because that's all I should need to do. Again, these first few lines, always good to just take your time and make sure they're nice and accurate. You've got a nice pencil for the blue lead. That should give you a nice precise line. As precise as can be, at least. And then the last line I want to draw, I also want to make sure I put that top in there, don't I? This guy. So I'm going to measure that all the way in. I'm not just going to piecemeal that one, just because I want to make sure I am doing this correctly. So this, it looks like what we're coming in is about 1 foot 6 inches from the wall, which seems about right? Because on the plan it says it's 11 feet. So it comes in, what am I talking about? 1 foot 6 on the wrong scale, 1/8 inch. 5.5 feet is what it should be. Yeah, 5.5. Pre-caffeination. Math before caffeine. It just is, doesn't work. Okay, there's my 5 foot, right? 2, 3, 4, 5.5. Right there. And those are all the lines of the plan. So now I can just shoot them around that square because I know that they all pass through that point of the square. Again, I'm just trying to be really as precise as I can be. The width of the pencil lead, you'll notice when you're drafting, causes a lot of error. So you start to learn as you draft a lot how to control the pencil lead and how to place your tool, triangle or straight edge, so that it accommodates for that. The other thing that gets difficult too is when the pencil leads come together at a steeper angle. There's even more room for error. So sometimes these aren't going to line up perfectly, and it's best to just kind of keep going. One of the things you can do, which is another reason I like blue lead, is you can come back to some of these lines when you're going over things with graphite, the finished drawing lines, and you can sort of make some adjustments to, the error that maybe the width of the pencil mark made. And here I'm kind of just connecting the dots. And when we first did this, if you'll recall way back when, we put a grid down on the bottom. If you remember that first little quick exercise, we just did a whole bunch of squares on the bottom. That's another sort of common way to start any two-point perspective. We have the benefit of doing a building that's a perfect square when we do this, so we have a little bit of an easier time figuring some of that out. But all of that, see that last line is not quite coming in. I'm just making some little adjustments here with my lines as I go. So that's that. So now we want to set up the building in space here, which means we'll project up. And we'll want to set our horizon line, at some reasonable level below. And we had been setting it at about 6 feet, which is a little high for a camera. It might make things a little confusing as we get to lines close to the vanishing point, or to the horizon line, excuse me. But I'm going to stick with it anyway. So this is 2 feet, 4 feet, 6 feet. The other thing that's going to get confusing is these are going to overlap with each other, right? I could make my life a little easier and just go to 5 feet. I'm going to do it. I know I'm deviating from the plan. That's okay, because I know you guys all did this at 6 before, but I'm just going to do this. In case anybody wants to start over, this is the reason I'm doing this video. If you want to start over, you can. So now I'm drawing the building. I've set up my lines below. I've got everything I need to do the whole drawing below here in terms of horizontal dimensions. I'm gonna have to, draw that tunnel in there, but for now, this is what I need. So this is the bottom. This is the bottom of the floor on the inside face. So I've just drawn these 2 lines in space. To know where they stop, I just go off of this, and I can come straight up. So I'm right on my my straight edge there, and I'm gonna come off of that point. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to go off of that point. Pulling it down to there. Again, these should line up horizontally as they come across. Again, the width of the pencil may cause that error to not be perfect, but they should be very close. If they're way off, then you know something's off. So now I know the height of the space is 18 feet, right? So this is 5. 18 minus 5 is 13, right? So I'm just going to use my 3/8 scale, so I'm not wasting time sitting here counting. 13 feet is right there. 13, that's that mark right there. And I can pull that back to this vanishing point. That is the overall space on the inside. So now I want to start to draw in some of the detail. So I can get a sense of where the section cut is going to be. So I can start to pull these lines up to get some better understanding of that. The outside wall line is going to be right there. Right there. The top of the light cove. Did I do this wrong? I did this wrong. Ha 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 ha. That's the outside wall line. That's the inside face. This is the top of that light cove. I just didn't project that outside wall line all the way around the bottom. So I got myself confused. So we're measuring off of this plane, and that's the one thing to really keep track of, which I just did not. So I got to get back to that. So that is going to come right to here. So I want to redraw that horizontal line. I don't want to confuse myself. should all line up, but we've got this measured off. This is coming up. So from this point, this will be my horizontal line through that square at the bottom of that space. There. So now I've drawn the floor right here with an X through it, so now I have the center of that space. This gives me that light cove. I can project up for what I need for the bench, everything else, as well as the top, right? I can also do this top plane. And this is the opening in the ceiling. Getting some error there. Right here. Again, something I might want to clean up when I go back over this in graphite. That's the ceiling. That's the floor. There's all the inside walls. Now I think what I want to do is draw in the tunnel, the opening, this opening in the tunnel. And once I've got that, then I can begin to do some of the graphite in. Let's see how long we're at here, 22 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and pause this and upload it. So this will be part 1.